Lost my train of thought and I don't remember what I was talking about because I got distracted. Welcome to ADHD brain. Yeah. Boy, this was a short story long situation. Jibber jabber jabber jabber. Her recipe called for 99% lean ground turkey. No, thank you. I identify more with Elphaba's character. Yeah. Because I'm not green, but I have been fat my whole life. And that's a thing.
You're fat?
Good morning. Happy Monday, my friends. It is, I mean, technically it's week 3 without Wegovy, but it's my second week getting my ish together. And we're on the way to the grocery store. I'm going to pick up a curbside grocery store order at Walmart. I already picked up the majority of my groceries last week with Nikki, but I had a couple of things that I needed to pick up that were a lot cheaper at Walmart and things that Richard needed for this week for work. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of spend the day today with you guys doing some food prep like we used to do. I'm doing a little bit more involved of a lunch this week than I have been doing, but I'm very excited about it. So if you guys know, I've never been much of a TikTok girl because when TikTok first started becoming really popular back during COVID, I downloaded it on my phone and lost 4 hours of my life in a scroll vortex vacuum and was like, I cannot have this on my phone. I just realized you guys are really dirty. I mean, the lens is really dirty that you guys are looking at me through. I'm so sorry. Hold on. I have a cleaner here somewhere. I know I do. Let me look in my mom purse, even though I'm not a mom. Let me clean you up. It's like the camera equivalent of... Anyway, lost my train of thought and I don't remember what I was talking about because I got distracted. Welcome to ADHD brain. Yeah. Oh yeah, lunches. So TikTok, that was where I was. We got new phones a week ago last Friday. We switched back to T-Mobile, which I'm so excited about because I've been trapped with ADHD. I mean, I have been trapped with ADHD. I've been trapped with AT&T for years because my husband used to be in the oil field and AT&T was the only carrier that had coverage out there. We got new phones and our new phones came pre-installed with TikTok. I kept it on the phone, logged into it and everything, and I've been using it specifically and only to look for recipes because I had heard that TikTok was a fabulous place to find high protein recipes. Boy, this was a short story long situation. I found this recipe for Greek turkey meatballs and an Orzo salad. I love me some Mediterranean and Greek flavors, and that just sounded chef's kiss. Also, she did something which I've used before. It's not like it was a revolutionary thing, but she used a scooper to make her meatballs, which I've done before to portion control them, but I've always thought that I needed to pick them up and roll them into perfect little balls so that they cooked right and everything. She just left them in little scoops, little plops on the baking sheet, and they were perfect. I was like, why did my stupid OCD perfectionist brain never think about the fact that I could just leave them there? I answered my own question. My perfectionistic OCD brain was the one that told me I couldn't do that. So we're going to be making those. I'm also going to be making my favorite high protein banana bread. I've made that before on this channel, but I will share the recipe with you guys again. It is my favorite banana bread recipe, protein or not. My husband will eat it, even though he's not watching his weight, worried about calorie intake or anything like that. But it is a higher protein banana bread, but the texture is just, it's from Cheat Day Design, who has my favorite high protein baked good recipes. He uses PE Science for the protein powder. If you've ever tried to bake with protein powder and you've tried using whey protein and your baked goods have come out dry, it's not the recipe, it's the protein powder. So all of his recipes are made using PE Science, which is a whey casein blend. And in my opinion, that is the superior protein powder for baked goods. So I will be sharing those recipes with you guys today. I've already been up and done all the things this morning. I got up at 7:30, even though it's my day off. And Helios and I went for a walk. I had breakfast. I did the dishes. Richard woke up like right as I was getting ready to leave the house. He's home today because he didn't get home until like 5 in the morning on Saturday. He's supposed to get home on Fridays, so He has a deal with them that if they don't get him home until Saturday, then he doesn't go back to work until Tuesday. He wants his full 2 days off, and I do not blame him. This week is 4th of July. In fact, you're watching this on 4th of July today, so happy 4th of July. So he will be off on Friday as well. So he only has a 3-day work week this week. I only have a 3-day work week this week as well, because I have a paid holiday on Friday. Boy, I am talking this morning. Jibber, jabber, jabber, jabber. I'm feeling pretty good today. It's been a pretty good week. I mean, things are moving in a pretty good direction, considering that I'm not on Wegovy anymore. Obviously, given the fact that my eating habits have been horrible, historically, I always lose a lot of weight when I start eating well from having not been eating well, because, you know, water weight is a thing. So I knew that I would lose a lot that first week, but we'll see what happens this second week. I set a new calorie goal with my registered dietitian last week, which, by the way, you guys, I've talked about my registered dietitian on this channel before. I am now a partner with Nourish. If you guys have been thinking about talking to a dietitian, but you're worried about how much it's going to cost, if you have commercial insurance, meaning you have health insurance through your employer, Medicare, whatever, and you're not seeing a registered dietitian, and you've ever had questions about how much you should be eating, what you should be eating, if you struggle with putting together meal plans or recipes or figuring out what a balanced diet looks like, I cannot recommend highly enough talking to a registered dietitian. And I will be forever grateful to Nourish, because they have made it possible for me to see a registered dietitian once a week completely for free. I pay nothing. When they initially sent it to my insurance, they were going to charge me $40 a visit as a specialty. But Nourish went through, and they know from working with insurance companies that because I am obese and I was pre-diabetic, that seeing a registered dietitian can be considered preventative care in order to help with losing weight, taking care of my health, getting him back into a healthier place. So they resubmitted the claim under preventative care, and it was approved, and I now see a dietitian for free. I did not have to do any of that work myself. The only thing I did was reach out to Nourish and say, hey, I thought you guys said that it was going to be free. And they said, oh yeah, it looks like, because initially that claim goes through automatically and the system doesn't always know the right thing to do. So just a person had to look at it and put the right code on it, and then it was free, and it's been free ever since. And I've been seeing my dietitian for, gosh, I think it's been almost a year now. And I absolutely love my dietitian. She is amazing. They have a ton of amazing dietitians. You can search for a dietitian based on what it is that you're looking for. People that specialize in eating disorders, binge eating, that specialize in anorexia, that specialize in muscle gain, weight loss, whatever it is your goals are, you can specify it, and they will find someone that specializes in those specific things. If you are interested in taking a look, I would really appreciate it if you used my link down in the description below. It lets them know that you heard about Nourish from me. If you do decide to use Nourish, even though it is free to you, they do give me a little kickback for referring you to their site. So I would greatly appreciate it. But obviously, as always, you do not have to use my links. You do you, boo-boo. I'm just happy to be here to help you along on your journey and share with you what's worked for me. Anyway, I am almost to the Mart of Walls. I need to get a little bit of gas first, and then we're gonna grab my order, and then we're gonna go home and do some cooking. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. Let's do it. Stay hydrated. Okay. Boom, boom, dun, 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 dun. And I surrender, but it's over now. No. It's driving me out of my mind. That's why it's hard for me to find. Can't get it out of my head. It ain't fiction, just a natural fact. We come together cause opposites attract. Hi, Mindy. In the trunk is good, please. The door is hard to open and close. Just slam it when you're done. Thank you. Mama's dancing, baby on her shoulder. Sun is setting like molasses in the sky. Okay, I did want to just share a couple of things that I've been getting from Walmart lately that I've really been enjoying. Sorry it's so dark in here. I live in a cave, if you weren't aware. There's like 0 windows in my house. Sorry, I'm putting dishes away really quick. I should have done this before I turned the camera on, but here we go. I just wanted to share a couple of things that I've been getting from Walmart lately. Stay. I try to drink close to a gallon of water a day, but the water here where I live is not the greatest. It's very hard. It tastes weird. And so I need to add stuff to make it taste good. This is my current favorite. It is from Great Value. It is a Southern sweet tea drink enhancer, and it is delicious. It just tastes like tea, and it doesn't have caffeine in it. It also does have vitamins B3, B6, and B12, which is good for natural energy, but yeah. So I've been eating this in my waters lately, and I absolutely love it. It is my favorite, and it's cheap. The Applegate chicken maple breakfast sausages are my absolute favorite, but they're pricey. They're real expensive. At the regular grocery store, it's like almost $6 for 10 of them, which is enough for 5 breakfasts for me. So that's like a week. I only like the links. I don't like the patties, and has anywhere between 13 and 15 links in here. And it's like less than $10. So I'm basically getting like a full week of sausage for free in comparison to the price. So if you like these and you've not checked your local Walmart, check it out, because this saves me a ton of money, because I have tried other sausages. I've tried lots of other sausages. These are the best. The end. They're the best. I don't know what to tell you. Stay. My freezer is a little full. I did get a pound of ground chicken. The recipe that we're using today calls for ground turkey, but for some reason the chicken was way cheaper, and this one is 8% fat, so it's what, 92% lean, which I think will make them a little more moist. Her recipe called for 99% lean ground turkey. No, thank you. No, thank you. That would be so very chalky for me. I just preheated my oven to 350. I'm gonna go check and write down the recipe really quick for the meatballs and orzo, and then I'll meet you back here and we'll put that together real quick. It is 9:45. I've got about 2-ish hours to get all of my prep done today, which should be plenty of time before I need to meet with Nikki for our weekly date. We have a weekly date now on Mondays. So yeah, I think today we're gonna watch Wicked. Okay, I got everything going. By the way, I had the wrong oven temperatures. 400 degrees is what we had everything done. And this chicken does not want me to let me in it. Okay, so I'm starting with a pound of ground chicken, ground turkey, ground beef, ground pork, whatever. Use whatever you want. It's fine. It's not that serious. It's just cooking. We're gonna add a pound of that in the bowl. I've got a tablespoon of oil of choice. I like avocado oil because olive oil has too distinctive a flavor to me, and it's a lot. A tablespoon of avocado oil. I have a 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs. She called for plain breadcrumbs. I have Italian, so that's what I'm using. Also, more flavor. Yay. We're gonna do 1 large egg. So I'm gonna add my egg. Boop. I need a 1/4 cup of red onion in the bowl. I would normally cook that ahead of time, but she didn't say to, so I didn't. It called for 3 cloves of minced garlic, which is usually about a tablespoon. I had 2 massive cloves of garlic, and that's probably more like 1.5 tablespoons. I'm okay with it. I love garlic. It's good. Garlic is one of those things you should measure with your heart. Now, she used fresh herbs. Anybody got time for that or the money for that, to be quite frank? So I'm just using dry, and I'm not bothering to measure these. I think she said 2 tablespoons of parsley. That we'll do like a teaspoonish of dried parsley, some dill. The recipe will be linked down in the comments. I'm gonna go a little light on the dill because that can get a little overpowering. And then we're gonna do some oregano. Ooh, that smelled good. We're gonna do some oregano. Again, going a little light on that because it can get a little overpowering. Garlic. the best of deodorants. It says half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of salt. I'm assuming that's based on your taste. I like things a little on the salty side, so I'm gonna go full teaspoon. Boop. Half a teaspoon of black pepper. I love these little electric crackers. Okay, and then we're just gonna mix this up. You can use a spoon if you want. To me, meatballs need to be mixed by hand. Meatballs, meatloaf, ground meat, anything. You wanna be careful about not overworking this. It can get a little bit tough, but I'm just gonna make sure that everything is well distributed and the seasonings are all in there. Good. I need to wash my hand. So again, we're gonna use a cookie scoop to put these on the tray. And this is supposed to make 20 meatballs. I'm not worried about it being exact. I'm the only one eating this, so I'm going to eat all of these. Hers said it was a 1.5 tablespoon cookie scoop. I have a bunch of cookie scoops. None of them are 1.5. This is my 2 tablespoons, so I'm gonna use that one because the 1 tablespoon one seems real tiny. So we're just gonna go a little light on these, and I'm just gonna plop them on the tray. Why on earth I ever felt the need to round these out? The perfectionist in me has a good time of convincing me that making things perfect will make all the difference in the world, but they're gonna get chewed up and digested, so. And honestly, those look pretty perfect to me, so don't listen to her instructions. 20 meatballs is a 2 tablespoon thing, so I went light on these ones on the front and now they're too small. That would have been considerably faster if I weren't having to make up for bad directions. I have 20 meatballs. This will make 4 lunches for me, so 5 meatballs per lunch. That's pretty darn good. By the way, if you have half cookie sheet pans and you do not buy pre-cut parchment, worth it. Honestly, I feel like it's the same price, if not a little bit less, than buying it in the big tube where you're wasting a bunch of it because you're not cutting the right size and then you have to crumple it up to make it fit and all the things. Just do yourself a favor, buy the pre-cut sheets. They're so much easier. I'll link it down below. I'll link all my stuff that I use. I'll have links in the places with the stuff and the things if you're interested in any of the equipment that I use. I'm going to put these in the oven for 13 to 15 minutes. I'm going to go on the lower side because I'm going to be reheating all of these for my lunches. So I'm going to do 13 minutes. Now let's start on the orzo. We're only going to be using 3/4 of a cup of orzo, which is 140 grams. I'm going to weigh mine because easier. But let's get some water on the boil. Should have been doing that while I was putting the meatballs together, but here we go. I'm going to get together my ingredients for the orzo salad while that water comes to a boil, and then I'll be right back. So much has happened since I left you. We have chicken meatballs out of the oven, and don't they look tasty? They feel firm to the touch, so I'm happy with those. They're not super golden brown, but I don't care. I want them to be moist. That's the most important part. Orzo is cooking away. It's got another 8-ish minutes, and when that's done, we're going to drain it, and then against everything that is within me in terms of my culinary knowledge, it asks me to rinse the orzo, so we're going to do that. But first, I'm going to make the dressing in the bowl. Yes, this is the same bowl. Yes, I washed it. Start with 30 grams of fresh squeezed lemon juice. Look at me, it's so fancy. If you have hard lemons, pop them in the microwave for about 20 seconds and then roll them on your board, et voila, you will have a much juicier lemon. I love when a recipe has weights. Makes me happy in my soul. 30 grams, perfect. We'll save the rest of this lemon just in case when I taste at the end I decide I want more. 2 tablespoons of olive oil, or avocado oil, excuse me. 5 grams of Dijon mustard. Ooh, that's 5.2, that's okay. Dijon ain't got no calories. A 1/2 tablespoon or 10 grams of honey. A 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. You could do fresh here if you wanted to, but I cut up garlic once today. I'll do it again. A teaspoon of garlic powder. Salt and pepper to taste. I'm going to start with a 1/4 teaspoon of salt because there's feta and things in here, so whisk that up. The Dijon will help to emulsify and help suspend that olive oil in the dressing along with the honey. Woo! Tangy. Do I want the rest of that lemon in there? I think I do. That's delicious. So now I'm gonna add in all of my veggies. I have another 1/4 cup of diced red onion, minced red onion, cucumber, easy bite size. And I'm using an English cucumber, a seedless cucumber, and those skins are really soft and they're not bitter. If you use a regular cucumber, make sure you peel it, and you may want to take the seeds out. These are not, even though they're called seedless cucumbers, they still have seeds, but the seeds aren't bitter like they are in a regular cucumber. 111-ish grams of grape tomatoes. Throw them in there. I'm gonna drain this and rinse it. Pasta facial. Never ceases to amaze me how much orzo expands when you cook it. Cool it down, stop it from cooking. Generally, you don't want to rinse your pasta because the starches on the pasta help to hold on to the sauce, but she told me to, so I'm following the instructions. So I'm gonna dump that orzo in there. It's a lot of pasta for only 3/4 of a cup. The last thing I have is feta. This is not reduced fat. She called for reduced fat. I like the creaminess of regular feta, and believe it or not, same amount of calories. It's just regular feta has more fat, less protein. Reduced fat has more protein, less fat. As far as I'm concerned, I would rather have the flavor and the creaminess of regular feta. I'll get my extra protein somewhere else. Thank you very much. 28 grams of this crumbled feta. I have a very interested party down here. Just breaking up the bigger pieces here. That's 28 grams. That doesn't feel like very much feta, but you know, feta has a very, it's quite pungent. Not pungent, that's not the right word. Little goes a long way in the flavor department. So we'll trust the process. We'll give it a taste. If it needs more, we can add it. Stir that up. I have no idea what that was. Oh, that was a piece of orzo that went flying out of the bowl. No idea how that happened. Okay. So the good thing about these kind of salads, they get better as they sit. Oh, that's colorful and bright and beautiful. Look how pretty that is. So that's our lunches for the week done. I'm gonna divide these up into some containers. Probably don't wanna store these together because I don't wanna heat up the salad. I only wanna heat up the meatballs. Well, no, I can still store them together and then I can put the meatballs in the lid when I heat those up and then leave the orzo separate. Look, my brain, I'm working things out. So let's get this salad divided into 4 here. It is now 10:40, so that took us about an hour from start to finish, and that included the time it took me to film and all the things. So that's pretty good. Spend an hour of your time making lunches for the entire week. I'm not mad at that. So I'm gonna plop 5 meatballs into each one of these little guys. Look how cute they are. And then I throw away my parchment paper and my cleanup on the meatballs are done. I'm gonna clean up a little bit and then we'll come back and do banana bread. I just finished toasting up some watermelons. Walnuts. The recipe does not call for walnuts, but the last several times I've made it, I've been sad that it didn't have nuts in it. So we're gonna add a few walnuts in there. I think this is like a 1/2 cup. I don't know that I'm gonna use all of that. That feels like a lot to me. The recipe calls to make this into a loaf, and that's what I normally do. But this time I'm going to put it in my jumbo muffin pan. The recipe makes 12 servings and I normally eat 2 slices. So I'm gonna do 6 jumbo muffins. I don't know how jumbo they'll be, but we're just gonna do my best to divide it as evenly into 6 as I can. I got lucky, and when I went to the grocery store on Friday, they had a clearance bag of bananas that was on its way out with banana bread. The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. The darker the banana is, the more the sugars have had time to develop, and they will be much sweeter. With this particular recipe, if you don't use a very ripe banana, it will be lacking in sweetness. Sometimes I still have to add a little bit of extra sugar, even if my bananas are super ripe. So we're gonna use these. Whatever I don't use of this, I'm gonna stick in my freezer. Bananas freeze beautifully. In case you did not know, my dog is putting his face on my foot to let me know that he wants some of what I'm making. This recipe, again, uses weights, which I love because it means I don't have to dirty a bunch of measuring implements. If you don't have a kitchen scale, as always, I'll link this stuff for you. We're gonna start with 400 grams of very ripe bananas. 400.5 is good enough for me, and this banana will go in my freezer. I'm gonna mash these bananas up real good and mashy. I like to use my potato masher because it gets them the mashiest. Yes, I've used a fork. It just takes way longer and it doesn't get them as smooshed. That took 5 seconds. You could, of course, do that in a food processor, use your immersion blender, whatever you want. 50 grams of brown sugar substitute. I use this one. It is a monk fruit erythritol blend. Those are the ones that I like the most. This is HEB brand, but you can do whatever you want. I don't get upset if I go a little over. In fact, I have hardly any left in there, so I'm just gonna add the rest because it is technically a 0-calorie sweetener. Now there are calories in it if you add a lot, but it's not worth worrying about. Then we're gonna do 25 grams of a granular sugar substitute. These need to be a 1-to-1 ratio. This one is also erythritol monk fruit blend. I get this one at Costco. It's the cheapest one I can find that I like the flavor of. I do not like stevia or Splenda sucralose. I prefer the erythritol monk fruit. Let's see. A teaspoon of vanilla extract. Vanilla and garlic you measure with your heart. Sure. That's probably close to a tablespoon. The recipe calls for cinnamon. I do not like cinnamon in my banana bread, so I'm gonna leave it out. I'm gonna stir this up. 4 tablespoons of butter. Real, full fat, delicious butter. And melt this in the microwave. I forgot to add the egg. 1 large egg. All of the wet ingredients have been combined. I should probably use a whisk because I can't break up that white without it. I'm gonna sift in my dry ingredients, which are 120 grams of all-purpose flour, just plain old white flour, a teaspoon each of baking powder and baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt, and 62 grams of the PE Science vanilla protein powder. I do not recommend substituting this for anything else, but you can. And I think that's it, other than the butter, but the butter goes in at the end. Use my little thing here to just kind of stir these dry ingredients together while I'm sifting them through. I'm gonna stir this until it's like 99% of the way combined. I think about there is good for me. Maybe a little bit more. All the dry ingredients off the sides at least. All right, and then I'm gonna pour in the butter at the very end. I don't know why this is so important, but he calls out specifically that it makes a difference to add the butter at the very end. I do what I'm told. Thankfully, this batter doesn't have a ton of flour in it, so you don't have to worry as much about them getting tough from gluten building up, but I still want to be careful. I'm the only one eating it. I can put my fingers in it if I want. In the words of my friend Kim Wadsworth, salmonella, I dare you. Comment down below if you're a batter licker. So for these nuts, I think I'm going to cut them up and I'm going to put them in each individual muffin to make sure that I don't have to mix them in and work this even more. And then I know I have about an even amount of nuts. And toasting those nuts makes all the difference. I'm going to spray this with some baker spray to make it easier to come out later. This Baker's Joy stuff is the best. Now I'm going to divide these up the best I can. This is my 3 tablespoon scoop. And sprinkle the nuts in the middle. This will easily make a dozen regular cupcakes because this scoop generally I use for a cupcake pan. So I'm gonna do a little bit more nuts on top of each one. I'll add a little more fiber, a little more protein, a little more healthy fats. I'll probably take one of these to Nikki later and we'll taste them with you. Okay, I'm gonna take just a little knife, trying not to go down to the bottom to scrape it, but I'm just gonna kind of do that to get the nuts all the way through. I'd rather not have stripes of nuts. Oh, I should have left some nuts out because I forgot Nikki doesn't like them. Yeah, it should be fine. If I were baking these in a loaf, they would take like a good 40 to 45 minutes. I'm gonna check them in about 20 minutes to see where they're at 350, by the way. I decided 18 minutes. I'll check on them in 18 minutes and then we'll go from there. I'll show you guys when they're done and tell you how long they took. So we're gonna try these meatballs and the Orzo salad. Look, it's so delicious. And then I have my little chicken meatballs. Show them to you up close. Hopefully you can see them. I can't see, so I hope you can. I popped those in the microwave for 30 seconds on the lid, so the little bit of moisture on the lid helped to kind of moisten the meatballs while they were cooking. So let's give them a taste. Very moist, very flavorful. Words are hard. I'm glad I pulled back on the oregano though, because even with me putting in as little as I did, it's still a little oregano-y for me, but I love the dill in there. It's so good. Let's give a taste of this Orzo salad. Please hold it, needs a little salt. The flavors are delicious. It's bright and citrusy with all that lemon in there. I love the cucumbers and the tomatoes and the feta and the... Nikki is running behind a little bit at work, which is why I'm eating this now instead of going to lunch with her. Oh, the banana bread. So I put it in for 18 minutes. There was nowhere near done. So I put it in for another 3 minutes, checked it. It looked done on the outside, but then it was still gooey on the inside. So I put it in for another 3 minutes. It probably would have been perfect if I had done 2, but I mean, it's still fine. Like, I think it's good. I think it's just going to be like, it didn't need quite 3 minutes. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm sure it's going to be perfect. Nikki wanted me to bring her one. I will bring you guys with me to go see Nikki, and we'll try the banana muffins together and hang out. And then I'll check in with you guys later on this week. Make this recipe. Yes. Yum, yum, yum.
Can I talk like this?
You're so good at the rapping. I showed Nikki Wicked, and I thought she knew the story already because she listens to the music all the time. But apparently, she did not.
So, kinda. But then there was like the important part, which is the ending.
This part has to face up.
Hello.
You can just hold it. That's fine.
Because this is how the people on the YouTubes and the Instagrams do it. I didn't know the most important part, which was the ending.
I
know
you
the
can't
other
tell them
parts.
because they might not know the ending because it hasn't come out yet. And some people haven't seen the musical,
Well, I hadn't even seen the music.
just like you. She got quite emotional.
I really did.
You have to understand that, like, so the song For Good. So the song For Good from Wicked is like our song.
But like
It's
just the beginning part.
Yeah, but I've heard it said.
I'm also about to go away, period.
People come into our lives for a reason. And that's the first.
You're still saying a word.
I'm sorry. Those are the first lines of the song. And that's just the truth of our relationship. I'm done, okay? We're fine.
Can I eat my bacon? My bacon? Can I eat my muffin?
Yeah. So Nikki wants to eat her banana muffin. I'm not hungry, so I'm not going to eat it with her. But I've had them before, and I know that I like them. Is your husband calling you?
Yes, he'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
I have one thing to say.
What?
Unless you're a doctor, don't comment about what you don't know. Okay? Yeah? Okay. Because I'm going to come for you. In the comments, obviously.
Anyway. Hi, Bailey.
I'll hit you with the muffin.
I don't know. It's awfully soft and tender. I don't know that it'll hurt very much. Did you want it warmed up with butter on it or anything? Or you just want to eat it by itself?
You know how I love butter.
I do. You want to try it plain first?
I just got this vision of Cookie Monster.
It smells good. I can smell it from over here. You can't smell it because your nose is all clogged.
No, I can't
crying.
smell it. And you want to
okay.
know, I do feel sad for those wonderful, lovely people out there who are sweet and encouraging, who can't smell this muffin, it's delicious. For those of you who aren't, too bad. Delicious. Even with the nuts.
Even with the nuts.
I don't like nuts. Sorry, I got stuck.
Is it good? You like it?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I like it a lot.
Yeah. It's a protein banana muffin.
I can't tell the difference.
Right?
Right.
I told you.
Like, oh my God. Like this, hold on.
What? There's a plate right here. Why did you put it on the table?
I'm an animal. Like this?
Just stop. I hope my hair's not down. Best.
You're gonna have to send me a recipe.
I will.
I'll read it, I promise.
I don't believe you.
No, but I will.
Oh, okay. I mean, it is food, so I believe you a little more. Yeah. Do you want me to warm it up and put butter on it?
You guys, she emotionally wrecked me. I'm still so sad.
But the music was so good.
Well, and the thing,
it's so pretty.
it is. Okay, so here's the thing. You can listen to the music without knowing exactly what goes on in the story.
That's
and
true.
then and read little tidbits about it without really experiencing. It was such a beautifully done movie. So beautifully done.
Yeah, the chemistry between Ariana and what's her face? Cynthia Erivo.
Cynthia, I almost said Agatha.
I don't know why. Yeah, it's between those two, like their friendship. It's such a good best friend movie. It really is.
And we've decided that I'm Glinda.
Yeah, you are, Glinda. That's true. So I do. Here's the thing. My voice is more suited to Glinda's part, but like I identify more with Elphaba's character.
Yeah.
Because I'm not green, but I have been fat my whole life, and that's a thing.
You're fat?
Yes.
You missed me, didn't you? Here. Well, we'll do something that Abby and I do. Cheers. Abby and I cheers our food and our drinks.
For those of you who may be new to my channel, I realize I meant to do this before, but you know, if you've been around for a while and you've seen any content with me and Nikki, you know I forget things sometimes.
Oh yeah, intro. Hi.
This is my best friend, Nikki. She and I have known each other for 11 years?
12 years.
12 years? Since 2013.
12 years.
Yes, 12 years.
12. We can math.
June 3rd, 2013 is when we
Yes.
met. We actually know the day we met because we met at training for
Yes.
our job.
Yes.
I mean, no, I don't work there anymore, but
For the job. Said job. Where I
for the
still
job.
work.
Yes.
Because I don't like change.
Yes. Well, but you did leave, but then you came back again because you realized you made a bad choice.
That was in the beginning.
In the beninging.
In the beginning. You want to see my dogs?
We've been friends for a very long time. This is Bailey. Oh,
I don't
hold
know
on.
how.
It
I
has-
can't. Oh my God.
This is a gimbal. Okay, that does things.
Who?
Hold on. It's a gimbal. Hold on. Hold on. Everybody, this is Bailey. Isn't she cute? She's adorable, and she's got the biggest, floppiest ears you ever did see.
She did.
You do good girl. Okay.
So I almost ate this.
Hey, don't eat the microphone, Nikki. In conclusion,
In Cloncajon.
this is a delicious banana muffin recipe, and you should make it.
Yes. Also, if you like to cry, watch Wicked. Also, watch About Time. That one will make you cry so hard your eyelids turn inside out. Okay, y'all. I need to butter my bed. My bed? I swear I didn't do that on purpose.
Butter her muffin.
Yes, I need my muffin buttered.
I'll butter your muffin.
First off, I have a husband.
Me too.
I know.
But you're still my best friend.
I love you.
Me too. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye bye.
Good morning and happy Thursday. And we normally do weigh-ins on Friday, but tomorrow is 4th of July and I have a ton of stuff planned tomorrow. So I just wanted to get it in where we could fit it in. That is the name of the game lately. I swear this is a different thing than I was wearing on Monday. It's a shirt. I know it looks a lot like the dress but that one was like it. Anyway. Oh my gosh, you guys, I have the cutest little swallows sitting on my, look how cute they are. Hi, friends. Sorry, they have a little nest up here. So when I come out here and sit, they don't want to be in the nest. So they go and sit on the fence and they listen to me, and they're having a little squabble right now. Anyway, ADHD, distraction, squirrel, only bird. Okay, so I had my meeting with my dietitian yesterday. We talked over everything that I've been doing over the last week, and I had kind of a little bit of an epiphany. Having structure, and you guys know I like tracking. This was the first week that I started tracking again. I'm actually putting everything in macro-friendly, or not macro-friendly food, in my Macros First app. That's my preferred tracking app of choice. I always knew I liked structure, but something about tracking does something in my brain, because when I'm not tracking, I'm always vacillating between feeling like I'm not eating enough or I'm eating too much. Something about actually tracking, it like settles my brain into saying I've had enough. And that alone, I don't know if it was that alone or if it's the Vyvanse finally kicking in, but that quiets the food noise. I have not been thinking about food this week. Knowing exactly what my next meal is, when I'm going to eat it, how much I'm going to eat. It's like it takes away the urge to snack or think about food, because I'm not constantly in that state of what am I eating next? What am I eating next? What am I eating next? Let me know in the comments if you feel the same way, if you have that reaction to meal planning, tracking, things like that, because it was a very stark, noticeable difference this week. Because even last week, I was still struggling somewhat with thinking about food. Even though I had a meal plan, I wasn't tracking. But having the tracking done, it just, I don't know, it's really weird. I noticed that that was a thing that happened this week. So let me know if that's something that you noticed as well, if you enjoy tracking, because that's definitely a thing that happened this week. So I did want to do a quick weigh-in with you guys this week. As of last Monday, I know I told you guys that I gained a lot of weight, but I didn't tell you exactly how much because I really wasn't ready to process it. Last week when I stepped on the scale, I was back up to 275.4. I don't even like saying that number out loud, but it's a good thing because I need to acknowledge where things went. As of today, when I stepped on the scale, I'm back down to 265.2, which means that in the last week and a half, I have lost 10.2 pounds. Obviously, the majority of that is water weight, but regardless, it's progress. It also means that I am now officially back down 100.2 pounds. Yay! I have been doing my best not to ruminate over the fact that I basically destroyed almost 2 years worth of progress in a matter of a couple of months. Yeah, we're acknowledging that and we're letting it go, because I promise that nothing good is going to come from me fixating on that. And I'm just going to do my best to give myself grace, acknowledge that that was what happened. And now we're back in a good place. We're back on the grind, so to speak. And I'm just going to do my best not to get back to that place again. I know this is a long video because I'm not even done editing it yet, and it's already almost a half an hour long. So if you're still here, thank you for hanging in with me. I did want to address really quickly the TikTok thing. I mentioned earlier in this video that I've started watching TikTok, and I have been thinking for a little while now about doing more short content, like instead of these big, huge, long videos where I talk about my whole week, doing shorter, more frequent check-ins. If that's something you guys are interested in, let me know down in the comments. If you prefer this longer form content, you guys know that I am a huge fan of the long form content. It's kind of where my heart is. Obviously, I'm a talker, so fitting everything I have to say into 90 seconds is not the easiest thing to do for me. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about short form content, shorter, quicker check-ins throughout the week, or do you just like this once a week check-in where we spend a lot of time together? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sticking through it with me while I figure all this out again. Thank you for your kindness in the comments. And remember that old adage from your mama. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, then maybe just don't say anything at all. Thank you to my Buy Me a Coffee members. If you missed it last week, I did send out a new meal plan. I'm going to do my best to be getting back to that every single week. So if you're somebody that struggles with meal plan ideas and recipe inspiration and you would like to support my content, feel free to check out my Buy Me a Coffee link down in the description. And I have a lot of existing meal plans with recipe links already on my Buy Me a Coffee site, but I will be doing my best to be sending those out every single week as I make my meal plans going forward as well. Thanks so much, guys. I love you bunches, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.
You have hair
In my teeth?
in your teeth.
Get it out.
Oh my god. Wait. I think it's an eyelash.
I can't see it.
It's because you're blind. We got some good footage for this, huh?
Mm-hmm. We did.
Good content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Should we make some
So,
B?
and
Hold on. Let's make. No, hold on. B-roll.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh no. Oh no.
We're on a journey, looking back on the things that we've taken for granted, but feels like we're learning to be better without what's been holding us back now.